Welcome back, everybody. This is the History Guy, and this is episode 2, playing on the Great War mod for Hearts of Iron 4. I am the nation of Germany, the German Empire, and we started the war early, 1911. If you didn't see episode 1, there's a link in the description below to take you back to episode 1. Here's the situation. We are holding a defensive line over here on the Western Front against the combined forces of France and Belgium right now. I haven't seen any UK forces. Oh, there's a couple cavalry divisions from British Raj, which is India, but I haven't seen any UK forces yet. I am a little concerned about naval invasion with them, especially because right at the end of the last episode, we suffered a major defeat to the British Navy. So I think I'm going to kind of regroup and park my Navy for now and wait a little while before we do anything else. If I see a naval invasion coming, we'll probably send the Navy out to deal with it. But otherwise, I think we're going to go ahead and take some time to build it up. We are taking the offensive over here on the Eastern Front against the Russians, but I'm not intending to press that way all the way into Moscow. Mainly what I want to do is I want to take Poland, this area around Warsaw, because if I can get right here, that vastly shortens my front line. And then I can get away with fewer troops and maybe entrench and just hold the defensive line. Let him just break his units against me trying to attack, and then eventually get my technology to the place where I can get a breakthrough and eventually win the war in a couple of years. So that's the thought, that's the idea. We'll see how it plays out. So after the debacle of my last naval fight, I did sink 9 of his coastal submarines here before taking my fleet back into port. And that's where we're going to leave them for the time being, which is going to allow me to start stockpiling fuel again and allow me to divert that much needed fuel over to the Army's operations. Casualties still kind of holding at about nearly 2-to-1. I like it that way. I hope that continues. It looks like we are suffering a little bit of an attack over here in Metz. I've got that salient out there, and it looks like he's really going after me. So I think we're going to go ahead and pull these guys back across the river and hold there. Eventually, I definitely want to get some entrenchments going, but I don't think I'm quite able to do that just yet. So once I'm able to, that's certainly going to be the next step. I'm going to do my first editing on my current divisions. I have almost all infantry divisions in the field right now. I want to get to a combat width of 20, which will just be a little more even, a little better. I'm going to add 1 armored car unit to that for now. That boosts my hard attack, my soft attack, my defense, my breakthrough, my armor, my piercing, and of course my fuel capacity and my hit points. So all the way around, it helps just build forces up. Now I'm going to have to start producing more of those armored cars to get them into the fight. And of course you can see that that sets me back a little bit on training on a bunch of units that I was about to rush into the field. I'm about to get another army full speed filled up here. I've got 4 divisions in it so far. Once we get that additional army, we're going to try to bring them in here and see if we can break through, maybe bring them up around here. I want to try and take Warsaw and encircle all these Russian troops if I can. Well, there's some more bad news. The Kingdom of Italy just declared war on the Ottoman Empire. I would have to believe that means they're not going to be joining my side in the fight. But I could be wrong. I guess we'll see, because the Ottomans I don't think are in either. They're not in our faction at the moment. We can't invite them to the faction. We can't invite the Italians either, so we're kind of in that place right now. I'm going to see if maybe we can start maybe boosting party popularity in Italy and see if we can sway them from being democratic into another form of government that might be a little more sympathetic to my cause, like authoritarian. So we're going to start doing that. We'll see how that goes. Right now, there's fascists at 5%, but that's about it. I probably should have been doing that sooner. The Italians are invading Libya now. National focus, we're still kind of stuck as far as what we can do. So many of these things don't allow me to do them yet. Let's see if we can get a secret alliance with Romania. It'd be helpful, even though they're not that big, to get another place to maybe open up a front on the Serbians and the Russians. Although Russia might just kind of dive in there and take them up, and that just might open another area that the Austro-Hungarians have to defend. But right now, they're attacking pretty much everywhere. So let's see. We can go ahead and rush all of these armies into the field now. We got to keep an eye on manpower. It's at 1.26 million. We're still good for a while. So that gets us up to 15 divisions in this army, which we're now going to go put... Actually, I'm not even going to give them a frontline order. I'm going to control these guys manually. And we're just going to plug them all in right there for now. And then I'll see what I can do with them. So this is something kind of cool to look at. And you can see how bad it is to attack in this game, in this war. I've lost 65,000 Germans. 44,000 of them have been against the Russians, probably primarily in my attacks over in the Eastern Front. Compare that to the 20,000 or so that I've lost fighting against Luxembourg, France, and Belgium. France, on the other hand, has lost 125,000 men fighting against me. So they're just hurling men at these lines and losing 5-to-1 casualties in doing it. So that's fantastic for me. And you can see why attacking is such a bad idea. And it's only going to get worse as the technology progresses and I can start really entrenching. Let's see if my army has made their way. They're still working their way over here. It's into November now, so weather's going to start getting bad. And it's going to get even more challenging to attack. All right, into the new year, some developments to talk about here. So I've got my new army, and we're trying to push down. As I was slowly making my way to push down toward Warsaw, the whole line has pushed forward. So we're not quite making a lot of progress on kind of building a bulge and cutting off his line. But we are having success. Now, simultaneous to that, the British have landed down here in the Adriatic, and they've got quite a little space for them to work. So I'm going to start building a third theater, the Adriatic theater, and all my new divisions that will be coming into the field are going to go into that army to help push this line back and maybe relieve a little bit of the pressure on my Austro-Hungarian friends, because you can see that because of that, the Serbians have started pushing up and they're making progress into Austria-Hungary, even while Austria-Hungary simultaneously continues to push their way into Russia. So man, I just hope in the next couple of months we can deal with this bulge once and for all, and then I can free up some of my units to work elsewhere. Continue to do a nice job on France, though. All right, we've got a pocket of British troops that have been cut off from the rest of their friends. We're going to go ahead and send the 7 divisions in my newly constructed Adriatic Theater force. See if we can cut them off and destroy these 3 British divisions that are there. Seems like things are going pretty well to do that. In the meantime, looking up here, okay, there's our secret alliance with Romania, national focus. I don't think that's going to do anything just quite yet, but it does build my relations. I had to stop working on Italy with boosting that political party because I just didn't have enough. It took 5 political power a day to do it, and I just ran out. So we could establish the Kingdom of Bavaria, which would become a puppet of the German Empire, and that would give me stability and manpower, but I don't not need either at the moment. My stability's at 62, so that could be better, but we're losing 30 of that because of the war. And I don't need the manpower right now, so let's see. That would give me a nice little bonus of political power, which I could use right now. Not a whole lot to be gained either way there. Asserting position in the east, same thing. None of this really does anything for me. So I think we're going to go ahead and start researching some of these artillery and things like that, because we're going to start needing technology to help turn the tide. All right, so looking like it's doing okay with this attack. Let's see, we're not quite to the place where we can get some more divisions down there yet. But our manpower is now under 1 million, so I've got to keep an eye on that. At some point, I'm going to have to make a change to my conscription laws, but we're not there yet. Let's look at the casualties. 217,000 lost on my side, but over 400,000 for the enemy. Again, almost all of my losses coming against the Russians, while we just continue to annihilate the French. I've lost 11,000 at the hands of the French, another 10,000 toward the Belgians, and 6,000 toward the UK. So we're looking at, what, 8-9 to 1 casualties? I don't know what the Belgians have lost, but they've lost 4K. So just massive amounts of casualties for the French. Eventually, that's going to add up for them. So we'll keep that going. All right, we've made a breakthrough. We are coming up on the opportunity, maybe, to start pushing into Warsaw. Let's go ahead and do that. And we'll continue to push up from this side. And the goal, of course, is to cut him off and destroy a bunch of Russian divisions. Okay, we've got 537 army experience. Let's get some more things added to these units. Field hospital is going to be huge. It's going to require more production cost, but that's okay. The other thing I'm looking at here, maintenance, military police. It's going to help with defense tremendously, so that should only improve things over on the Western Front. Now that's going to mean I'm going to need to work on producing the support equipment a little more than I am right now. But things are going pretty good. We're starting to fold this pocket down around the Russians. The British were able to reconnect, so I've gone ahead and spread out my forces all along this border. I've now got 17 divisions down here. We're going to try to contain this and then eventually turn them back. But for now, I just want them to kind of hurl their armies at me and take losses. Speaking of losses, even though the majority of my casualties have come against the Russians, 127,000, the Russians have lost 147,000 to me, which tells me that even though I'm on the attack, I'm still inflicting more casualties than I'm taking. So that's good. 770,000 in manpower now. So once that gets down around 400,000, we'll have to start thinking about changes to conscription law. All right, major offensive happening down here in the Adriatic theater. I definitely have the numbers in my favor now. You can see that little green line's moving, showing I'm stronger. So I went ahead and started launching an attack, and it seems to be going pretty well so far. Hopefully we can drive the British out. And we've just gotten a new land doctrine. We're going to continue down that road. That one gave me a plus 10% to my soft attack. This one's going to give me a bonus to division speed and organization. Long way to go on that, though. Meanwhile, that pocket's starting to collapse with the Russians. I wasn't able to push through and really cut it off, but there's still a possibility for that. I'm going to see where I might find a place to do that, and it looks like right here might be the spot. So we're going to try to push through and make contact. It's only one province wide now, so if I can make it through right here, we'll have these other divisions. It looks like there's at least a dozen of them, maybe a few more. There's 6, 12, 17. That's basically a full army group. There's 21 divisions there. So that could be huge for me if we can break through there and finish him off. Let's look at the casualties now. 345,000 on my side, 720,000 and climbing on his side. How are things going down here now? Winning pretty much all the way along the line, and we might be able to get him cut off here. Oh, the Titanic has sunk. We can also now switch to a war economy, which we're definitely going to do. That'll definitely ramp up our production. We're almost maxed out on oil, so we won't have to trade for quite as much. Winning all the way along this pocket. You can see this long front line's about to look just like this. Once we do that, we'll kind of dig in, and we'll let the Austro-Hungarians do their thing if they want to, but we're going to kind of dig in, play the defensive a little bit. We're pushing the British back. You can see that here, so that's going well. I'm going to start going ahead and sending some more troops over to the west. I'm having a little trouble right here in the center that concerns me some. You can see their average organization is down to 14%. We might lose some territory there, so I'm going to have to beef up the west a little bit. And we might see if there's an opportunity. Well, there's a lot of divisions there, maybe not. I was going to see maybe I could break through, but I don't think that's happening. April 1912. All right, 2 pockets of Russian resistance. 1 division holding out in Warsaw. We had 5 divisions, now down to 4 holding out over here. And once we do that, we will have officially shrunken that front by a lot. And that's been the goal for the last, 8 months or so since this war began. And we're finally seeing that happen. There it is. We get everybody up on the front now. We push a little bit further to my original plan. I think we might even try to push this out a little bit right up to the river. I've sent 15 fresh divisions over here to the western front to help stabilize, but it looks like most of them went up to the border with Belgium. We're still dealing with a little bit of an issue down here, so I'm going to see if I can send some additional help manually over there to help them with that, because we may lose that there. Let's look at the situation. 428,000 losses, 1 million losses now on the Entente side. Half of that, France. Almost all of the rest are the Russians. Only 183,000 casualties I've lost against the Russians. The Russians have lost 300,000 against me. So things are going really, really well there. We're collapsing resistance down here in the Balkans. So that's all very good news. And now we settle in and we worry about trying to build up the Navy, build up technology, start getting some tanks so we can make some real breakthroughs. All right, so two things have happened here. Number one, it looks like the French have stopped attacking on the Western Front. Just completely stopped. Probably because of how things are going elsewhere. We're still kind of continuing to try to drive them out down here in the Balkans. The Austro-Hungarians are just advancing like crazy now. They're about to take Kiev. They're pushing right into Ukraine. Ever since we pushed out this bulge here, it's just gotten really, really good against the Russians. Now, not an unexpected development here. We've got the Empire of Japan justifying against us. Kind of expected that would happen. My main concern is Italy. And I don't know where Italy stands with all of this, but I am a little concerned about them. They are working on anti-German policy, and so there's probably not going to be a lot that I can do to keep them out of the war. So we may have to try and get the Ottomans on our side if we can. That doesn't seem to be a possibility right now. I don't know. We're probably going to be doing this on our own, but yeah, things have completely stopped over here on the Western Front. All right, so as I had said before, once my manpower got down pretty low, we would have to make changes. We're going to go to extensive conscription. Is that world tension's not high enough? We can't go to extensive conscription until world tension gets over 40%. It's hard for me to believe that with a world war going on that the world tension is not at 40%. I guess I'm going to have to do something to ramp that up, but that's going to cost some of these political PowerPoints that I have. So maybe when Japan declares war on me, that'll get us there. But for now, we're stuck. And so I'm going to slow down rushing new units into the field until we are able to do that better. Wow, look, they're going for Odessa. They're making their way over to Crimea. Man, things are going really, really well right now on the Eastern Front. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and push it right up to the river. And that'll be a really good spot to defend if I need to. We're going to go ahead and push this Russian front forward. It seems like we've got them on their heels, and I may as well take advantage of that. So we're going to take Minsk, we're going to take Kiev, and we're going to push this all the way out, maybe even grab Sevastopol and deprive the Russians of their main Black Sea port. So we'll see what happens with all of that. Man, Austria-Hungary, while we're having success against the Russians, they're simultaneously really struggling against the Serbians. So if I can just finish off this pocket of resistance here, what I'm going to do is I can send the army over here and maybe we can push through and help them finish off Serbia. And then I'm going to feel really good about this moving forward. So the civil war in China is over. And with that, the Russians have called the Empire of Japan as our enemy. Not unexpected. That only bumped up world tension by 2%. We still cannot get it to 40% to be able to make that change to conscription laws. That's just so frustrating because I could really, really use that. So it seems that the reason he may not be attacking over here on the Western Front is that he just doesn't feel that he can withstand the attacks any longer. So it may be, if you look at this, inferior enemy 80%, it may be that it's time for me to push. Now I'm going to set this to carefully execute battle plans. I don't want to get crazy, but primarily we're going to try to attack through and see if we can knock Belgium out of this war. I'm sending some fresh divisions over there, and we're going to go ahead and try to launch this attack. Enemy's not as inferior as they appeared, but we're at least going to give this a try for a little while. It may not go all that well. Oh, we've got a new armored car available to us. Now it looks like one of our generals got a promotion. He can now have 30 divisions von Francois. So that's good. We're going to go ahead and press forward here in Russia. That's still going well. I'm pretty happy so far with how well this war's gone. So we're going to have to upgrade our production there. But I'm running into issues with being able to move forward in technology because everything's ahead at this point. I desperately need us to get to 1914, 1916 to really start researching some of this stuff. I'm going to go ahead and research something like Engineer Company 2, even though it's ahead. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slow down my production of new divisions. We'll get it back down to maybe 5 at a time. We're going to focus on reinforcement and upgrades because of where I'm at. I also need to look at trade and slow down my trade for oil because I'm maxed out on oil. I don't need it anymore because I'm not operating my Navy at the moment. So let's see. I can currently max out and store 2.5 million, and apparently I've got all of that. So we're not going to trade for any oil right now. I need to get the new divisions that I just put into the field, these 9 here. I need to get them in the Adriatic theater and send them to help flush out this pocket so I can free up this army to go help with Serbia because it's a mess down there. And now that we've got 2 armies, we're going to need a field marshal. Crown Prince Ruprecht of Bavaria is going to take command there. General von Prussen is going to do this. So Crown Prince Ruprecht, let's get this army down here. Let's deal with this last pocket of resistance and then take out Serbia. Alright, this battle's nearly won. There were 5 divisions. Now we're down to 3. Montenegro, Australia, and the UK. UK's division has been destroyed. We're just going to have to see who's next. We're just about there. Looks like another 2 days, and this will be over with. They are launching some invasions among my colonies out in the South Pacific. I'm not the least bit worried about that. They can have them. All right, we've pushed out resistance there. Now we get to come over here and deal with Serbia. I've been wanting to do this for a while, so this should definitely turn the tide. We've got 31 divisions that we can unleash on the Serbians, and with rail you can see how very quickly they get there. It only takes them a couple of days. We're going to be able to get them in position, and then we're going to unleash them really quickly. In fact, let's go ahead and do it. Not everybody's even there yet, but I would guess Serbia falls in short order. I canceled my attack on the west. It was not going well, and there was no point to it. Kiev is about to fall. We're pushing the line here in the against the Russians. Minsk will fall soon after. I think once we take Kiev, Minsk, and knock out Serbia, we will call it an episode. A lot has happened. All of it, for the most part, good for me. So I know it's not going to stay that way, but I would say, if I've learned anything from this, it's that starting the war early definitely favored me because it seems like the Russians weren't ready. The French seem to have had a lot, but they've lost so many by trying to attack. It seems like it was the right choice to go to war early before they had a chance to mobilize and build up. It's the Russian winter, folks. If anything can be learned from history, it's don't attack Russia this time of year. Napoleon learned that lesson. Hitler learned that lesson. I have apparently not learned that lesson. And we are continuing forward. Kiev's holding, but falling soon. Looks like another 10 days. We're marching toward Minsk. Very little resistance. Same goes for Belgrade. I believe by the new year, we'll probably have Belgrade, we'll probably have Kiev, and we'll be just about ready to take Minsk. And then, folks, how far is it to Moscow from there? It's really not that far. Petrograd, there we go. St. Petersburg, the capital. Leningrad, as it's also known. So many different names. It's right there. It's there for the taking. I just got to be careful not to get too greedy. I might need to sit still and wait until spring to press that offensive. Let's look at the casualties overall. 800,000 on my side. I'm down to just 85,000 in manpower. We're probably going to have to try and just start ramp up toward declaring a war on someone just to get the world tension driven up. I just don't know who I would do it to. Maybe China? I can't even justify unless I get up to world tension 40. World tension's killing me right now. It's killing me. So I'm completely stuck as far as my manpower goes at the moment. January 1913. Kiev has fallen. I went ahead and canceled another one of my currently produced divisions just to build up that manpower back up a little tiny bit. We're getting low on a lot of our production as well, so we're going to have to be careful there. I'm going to continue working on... There's trench warfare focus. Looks like Belgrade may fall within weeks. And we are right on the door of Minsk. So it still says it's a slight favoring of the defenders, and that's only because I lost a little bit of territory over here on the Western Front. Just a smidge of territory right here, Bitburg. And this area, Metz. So those are the areas that are causing that to be the case, but honestly not a huge deal. February 1913, Minsk has fallen. And something's happening here. I don't know what it is, but when it freezes up like this, that's usually because something happened. Tsar Nicholas abdicates. Demonstrations have forced the poor Tsar into official abdication. Though the Tsar has named Grand Duke Michael as his successor, the Duke has declined this offer. So that's historically what happened. We're just about 4 years early on it. So the Soviet Russia declared war on the Russian Empire. Oh, glorious day. This is such good news. So now we can just push up into here. I wonder if we can... I doubt we can get the Soviets on our side, but it certainly couldn't hurt. We're at least going to say, non-aggression pact. Let's not fight each other, Lenin, okay? In fact, I think the Germans helped get Lenin there, historically. Belgrade's about to fall. Man, this could not possibly be going better right now. We forced... I thought I was going to have to fight through till like 1916, 1917 to get that to happen, but it is on now. And the good news is that as soon as I can finish off the Russians... Well, then, we still have that reverse Schlieffen plan working in our favor. We can start turning our divisions over this way. When we finish off the Serbians, then we have all of these divisions available to deal with these guys. And hey, if Italy wants to jump in at that point, let them. That's just one more place I can conquer. So we'll go ahead and we'll finish off Serbia, and then I think we'll wrap up this episode. The French must not be happy about what's happening on the Eastern Front because they've begun attacking along the line again. Good for them. I'm glad they're doing it. I'm working on Vaughn's work on defense, which is going to allow me to build trenches. And we're definitely going to entrench that Western Front. The march toward Belgrade continues. I've gone ahead and unleashed my Eastern Front. I've told them to push it all the way up to the Soviet border. And I think at that point, Tsaritsyn, I think, is that Stalingrad? I think that might be Stalingrad. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's about where Stalingrad is, right between these two rivers. Trench warfare focus. All right. So Soviet Russia, you can see there with them added on this side what that does. Got a significant manpower bonus now. Oh, man, things are going really well. I'm really pleased by this. All right, Belgrade's about to fall, and I'm wondering if that'll be enough to finish off the Serbs. I feel like it might be. It just depends on how many other points they have. So let's take a look at them. You can see Serbia part of the Entente. They don't have any points that they've lost so far, so I don't know if Belgrade's pretty much it's all or nothing with them. But I'm looking at Austria-Hungary's casualties, and I know they can't sustain that. I know when I played as Austria-Hungary, they've got a huge manpower problem. So at some point, that might become an issue. But we've pushed all the way to the Soviet border, and now we get to kind of go north and south with this. I just wonder how much it will take to knock Russia out of the war altogether. It looks like the UK's at it again, and I've got nothing there to deal with them. So Vaughn's work on defense complete. That means we can build trenches now. We can actually go higher with the trenches when we build trench, or when we choose trench excavation. Let's go ahead and look at this. Construction. Trenches. Yes, please. All right, so we're actually already like higher than we can possibly go on trenches there. But we're going to go ahead and go up to the level 2, which is the highest we can do over here. Not there. All right. And then we might have to do that down here. I don't know. We're going to have to send... We got to knock Serbia out so we can turn and deal with these guys. All right. Belgrade has fallen. Let's see how far did that pushed Serbia about halfway. So we're obviously going to have to continue. We're going to have to come down here and take Nice. And that's their capital now. The Austro-Hungarians rushed a bunch of divisions from the Eastern Front over here to deal with this UK invasion, and it seems to be stemming the tide there. So that means I don't have to. I was going to take one of my armies to go deal with it, but it seems I don't have to do that now. Do we have partisans showing up in our rear? Is that what's going on here? Somehow there's a Russian division there, but it's gone now. Yeah, we've probably got partisans that are rising up. But we're about to finish them off in the north. Is Petrograd their capital? It is. So let's go take that. We'll take this major city here. As soon as we knock out Serbia, we'll wrap this up. It just hasn't quite happened yet, but they're collapsing. So Montenegro has capitulated. And Serbia is going to be right behind them. We'll just go ahead and rush that along a little bit here. As always, I welcome your comments, your questions. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, if you just want to talk about World War I, I'm always up for that. I love the historic discussion. You can head over to the Discord and do the same thing. Looks like this is about to finish off. And once that does, we can go deal with these pesky Brits that keep landing. We might have to send our Navy down there to go blockade the Adriatic Sea so that doesn't keep happening. Although I'll probably just end up losing my Navy if I do that. We don't want a Zeppelin focus. We want a fighter focus. Come on. Let's do this. How's things going over here? Oh, yeah. Looks like we're kind of holding right there, and we're going to do this from up here. And make our way up. I might just kind of make a beeline for Petrograd when I get a chance. These invasions that are happening are all in the South Pacific. They're nothing I'm really concerned about. Only one division still defending in town. Gotta just make sure he doesn't sneak back in here and take Belgrade before we take these guys out. Here we go. That should do it for the Serbians. The Serbians are the ones who historically started this whole mess. Obviously, that's not the case this time around. It ended up being an issue between me and the French. So it wasn't the Austro-Hungarians and the Serbians at all. All right, now we come over here and we deal with the Brits. And we push them back again. We finish off the Russians, and then we deal with France. So we're going to wrap it up right there. It's June of 1913. That was a lot that happened there, and all of it good. Thanks for watching.